Thanks for having me.
No problem at all. We're going to introduce you and get right into it. Today,
Sounds good.
today on the Matt and Ann Show, we welcome Eagles legend Bobby Taylor. Welcome to the show, Bobby.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Definitely. We want to start off with the Deshaun Watson rumors. What are your thoughts on them? Do you think he's going to be an Eagle by week one? Or
What? I didn't know that. That's I've been pretty busy today. You know, I live in Houston, so I'm right outside of the city, so I get a lot of the Houston Texan news.
yeah,
I've been a Deshaun Watson fan. I think he's in the top echelon of quarterbacks in the NFL right now. I didn't hear that. I mean, I think it's an unfortunate situation.
yeah.
If it does happen, how with everything that's swirling around from a legal standpoint, but as far as I mean, him as a talent, I mean that would be great, but it also kind of diminishes Jalen Hurts. I mean, I'm a Jalen Hurts fan. His godfather is my neighbor,
Okay.
and you know we talk a lot. Our family spend a lot of time together, and you know I'm looking forward to him being out there. So you know if the rumors are true, and something like that does happen where Deshaun Watson ends up being an Eagle, I mean it's kind of bittersweet to tell telling you the truth.
Uh, uh, you mentioned what you got on there is level as a player. What you got on him?
What's your thoughts on Jalen Hurts? You think he's like could be a Deshaun Watson in this league?
I think so. I mean, you just look at. I mean, he had a great high school career. I'm familiar with what he did in high school at Channel View High School. I think that's where he went to school. I mean, he comes from a background where his father is the coach. You know, he's a coach's son, so he's obviously a student of the game. I mean, he's had great success, winning the championship, being at Alabama. I think what SEC Offensive Player of the Year, something like that. Going to Oklahoma, being successful. He's obviously a leader. You know, seems like his teammates, like to fight for him and want him to be successful. So, you know, I'm a fan, and I think he can, be successful in this league, especially if the people in the front office, Howie and those guys,
Yeah.
bring in talent that suits his style of play. So yes, I'm a big fan.
When we when we were doing research on you, we found out your father was an Olympic sprinter and
Yes.
won a gold medal. Uh, what have you been watching the Olympics? And did you ever consider going into sprinting?
Yeah, so track and field, that was my first love when it comes to sports. And so yes, my father, he ran track. He was a sprinter. I was more so a middle distance, like a 400 guy, quarter miler. Um, but yeah, I love track. I love the Olympics. I love track and field. I've been watching. Obviously some unfortunate news that came out today with Simone Biles having to
Absolutely.
step away for her mental health. But you know, I commend her. I support her. She lives here in the Houston area. But you know, I'm watching. I think every time the Olympics comes around, whether it's conflict with people in the States, it always seems like it's a bonding because we're all on the national world stage, compete. Our best athletes competing against the other best athletes from around the world. And I mean, I love it. I just think it's a time where we all can come together, watch some different sports. There are some sports that I didn't even know existed that they're competing in the Olympics. But it's fun. I mean, I hate that the time is a little bit off or what have you.
Yeah.
But I mean, I found myself up last night. I mean, I was watching. I think ladies volleyball.
I was watching that too, actually.
Yeah, ladies volleyball. They play, I think playing against China. I think right. Was it
Yeah,
China?
I didn't know a single person on the team, but I was enjoying watching it.
Yeah, exactly. Just seeing how athletic they are, jumping up. I mean, I know some of those women can probably dunk a basketball as high as they were
Most
jumping.
definitely.
We mentioned that your dad was Olympic. Did you ever think about being in the Olympics at all?
You know what? Well, maybe yes and no. I don't think I was fast enough. I probably would have had to play another sport if I wanted to possibly compete in the Olympics. But I mean, I just think that would be cool to just be on one team like that, representing our country, and to, have all of the pressure, all of the preparation that goes into it. I think it's great that it comes around every 4 years, and to be in that spotlight. I mean, I think that would just be so cool to, have the opportunity to represent our country. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that. But I'm definitely a big fan for sure of the Olympics.
Do you ever think we'll see football in the Olympics? Because there is some sports that are solely dominated by one country. Football is would be dominated by the United States, obviously, but still.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I'm not sure about football, tackle football.
Yeah.
But I know, for example, the World Games in a couple of years, they're going to take place in Birmingham, Alabama.
Okay.
And they're going to have flag football as one of the sports. And I think that's cool just because, I am an advocate for flag, specifically NFL flag football. And to see that possibly have the opportunity to be maybe an Olympic sport one day, I think that would be cool. But I doubt that tackle football, where it's 11 on 11, becomes an Olympic sport. I just think that we're probably a little bit too advanced when it comes to tackle football compared to other parts of the world. Now, maybe, folks in different countries, they may feel a little bit different, but you just never know, especially with sports and the different creativity that could possibly come when it comes to the Olympics. Because like I said, I sit and watch some of these different sports now that are taking place in the Olympics. And I was like, man, I never knew that existed. Like, who thought of that? So, I could see it maybe, but I could definitely see flag football taking place as an Olympic sport.
That'd be dope.
With all the young players in the NFL right now, do any of them remind you of yourself?
Do any of the players currently in the NFL remind you of yourself?
Yeah, I'm thinking about that one, right? I'm not sure, right? Because, I haven't met too many cornerbacks that's my height. I mean, the Hall of Famer Mel Blount, he's probably an inch taller than me. And to see someone bigger than myself playing cornerback, he's obviously a Hall of Famer, played for the Steel Curtain in Pittsburgh. But, that's kind of hard to say. I like Jalen Ramsey's game. He's a taller guy. Yeah. He probably could be a off guard in basketball, playing tough defense, like I played basketball coming up. But yeah, I would probably say someone like a Jalen Ramsey. But outside of that, there's not too many other cornerbacks that I would say, especially when you're just looking at the body type comparisons.
Is there a top 10 favorite player that you have?
Do you have a favorite player currently in the game?
Favorite player, man. I'm gonna probably have to say, I love Aaron Donald, man. Especially being, a defensive back. When you have a defensive lineman that could just be as dominant as a guy like that, I mean, it makes your job that much easier being on the defensive side. You don't have to come up with elaborate blitzes. you just know in probably 1 or 2 seconds he's going to be to the quarterback. And just to see how quick he is, how strong and powerful. I saw a meme like maybe, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, and it was just like he was treating like 300 pounders like they were crash dummies, just throwing them around. And it was just like amazing to see, he's a grown man, but to obviously handle other grown men that are playing in the professionals on the professional level, the way he was handling those guys, it was just, he's a superhero. So he's definitely my favorite player in the NFL right now.
When you were a rookie, you played in the 4th and 1 debacle against Cowboys. What was that like? Like, I've loved watch every year, at least once I watched that game. And what is the atmosphere playing against the Cowboys? Like, it seems like it's crazy, even if the teams are 0-15. Like, people still go crazy for it. So, what is it like playing?
Yeah. So, like I said earlier, I'm from Texas.
Yeah.
So growing up, that's all I saw: the Cowboys. I didn't really have a favorite team, but when you're from Texas and football is king here, and with all of the great players that have came through that organization, it's kind of hard not to pay attention. And, actually when I was playing, outside of my small immediate family, I had cousins, uncles, aunts that were still Cowboy fans when I was an Eagle. And it was a situation where they would be, hey, Bobby, we want you to do well, but we want the Cowboys to win. And I'm like, you can't root for your family? Like come on. So being able to play in that game and be a rookie in the veteran stadium where they've torn it down now, it was just amazing, just because we had already played those guys earlier in the season. It was a Monday night game, and then that was actually the first game that I started, and I got my first interception. It was in Texas Stadium, and we lost the game, but just being a rookie, I was like, you would have thought we won. And so to play those guys again, to play them at home, it was one of those classic fall Philadelphia days where the sun wasn't out. It was overcast. It wasn't really cold, but it was chilly, just perfect football weather. And, they had so many Hall of Famers on: Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin. The list goes on and on and on. And to be able to be a part of that, to help contribute to win that game, that was just like cool. I was able to call all of my guys back home, some of my guys back in college. And I can just remember driving to the game. It was crazy going down 76 en route to Veterans Stadium, passing up all of the fans. Folks were tailgating crazy. And it was just a special time and a special game to be a part of.
I'm a Cowboys fan.
I don't know him. I don't know.
You know what? I'm glad you didn't tell me that before this. I may have turned the interview down.
But you mentioned great players in the league. McNabb. McNabb. What do you think his legacy he could be? Like, to me, I think he could be in a Hall of Fame and a great player. What you thought about McNabb in general?
So you're asking about Donovan's legacy, right?
Yeah, because I feel like he gets a lot of hate that he doesn't deserve.
I feel like that as well, right? And in my mind, I think 5 is he's going to be a Hall of Famer at some point, regardless of if he's older. Like, for example, our good friend Harold Carmichael, who I'll see in a couple of weeks in Canton. He's going into the Hall of Fame as a receiver.
Yeah.
And I think one day Donavan will be a Hall of Famer as well. I mean, first of all, I know he has nothing to be ashamed about when it comes to his legacy and what he gave to the Eagles, the tri-state area. You know, I was there with the guy. He worked hard. I mean, I was a part of 3 of the NFC championship games that we lost, and Donavan was our quarterback. The following year, he was able to get to the Super Bowl, and they came up short. I think if myself and a guy like Troy Vincent would have been on the team, maybe they would have won that Super Bowl against New England, but, you know, that's neither here nor there. But, I mean, in my book, at some point, I think Donavan will be a Hall of Famer, like, regardless about all the hate and, like, who cares about that? Like, man, this man was a great college quarterback. He was a top 5 pick. He, you know, has so many records. And in my book, 5 is a Hall of Famer.
Where would you rate him at in your top 10 or top 5?
Yeah, you know, that's kind of hard to rank him, right? I mean, when it comes to Eagles quarterbacks, I mean, I would put him right there at the top. I know you have, you know, Jaws, Ron Jaworski. You have top quarterbacks. I mean, I would say Donovan would probably be one of, Randall Cunningham. I played with Randall my rookie year. You know, he's right there as one of the greatest that has, you know, ever played there. And so, you know, like I said, Donovan, he had a great career. Of course, I know he would want to have a Super Bowl title. If for example, it would be a no-brainer if he won a Super Bowl when it comes to if Donovan would be a Hall of Famer or not.
Yeah.
Like a no-brainer, right? And I get that. But, you know, there's always this saying, quarterbacks, they get too much credit when we win and they get too much negativity when we lose. And I think he falls right in that category as well.
Talking about Super Bowls, Carson Wentz was our quarterback in 2017 for, I think, 14 weeks. Since then, the success obviously hasn't been there. He's with the Colts now. Do you see him going back to 2017 form, or do you think that was like a one-year wonder type thing?
No, you know what? I wouldn't. I hope so. You know, I was like, I'm all pro player, right? Even if you're on our team, if you're not on, you know, if we're playing, if Carson and the Colts are playing against the Eagles, of course I'm going for the Eagles.
Yeah.
But, you know, I want him to be able to go to Indy and like reestablish himself. You know, like you said, in 2017, I mean, he was on his way to winning the MVP.
Yeah.
Like MVP, like hands down. And, you know, the game we played, you know, one play you could be at your best, and the next play you could be on the sideline with an injury. And so I think he will be able to reestablish something. There's some familiar faces out there, coaches that coached him when he was in Philly and having at the height of his success in the NFL. And so I'm pretty sure he's motivated, and, you know, we all just have to sit back and, you know, wait and see how it happens.
We were talking earlier about the 4th and 1 debacle. You guys were wearing Kelly green jerseys that day. Obviously, recently they've been wearing the midnight green. Which one did you prefer? Because obviously you got to wear both. Did you like wearing the midnight green or the Kelly green?
Man, you know, I like them both, really. And I know that's not really answering, but why not have them all in the mix where you can wear all, you know, you can have 2, 3. Let's go to, you see how University of Oregon, they have 3, 4, 5, 6 jerseys. Hey, that's all a part of the history. And I think, you know, especially depending on who the opponent is. And I think the NFL and the league as a whole, they do a great job as far as creating different themes where different teams can, you know, they have the color block jerseys and or uniforms. And so I like them both. And I feel fortunate to during my playing career where I was able to represent and wear both of them. And I actually have all of those jerseys framed upstairs in my house right now. So, I feel blessed to be able to play in all of those different jerseys.
I get what we talked about the Cowboys earlier, and you say did they ever cross your mind of going to Dallas at all of playing?
No, I wouldn't say so. I felt like it was a blessing. I played 10 years in the league. 9 of those years was right there in Philly, South Philly, basically. And I didn't have to move a lot. Unfortunately, there are guys that are journeymen that maybe every year, every other year, they're having to pick up whether they have a family or not and move their whole entire family. Sometimes the family may have to stay back because, a guy gets traded or something like that. And so to not have to experience that, I was good. I would have loved to finish my career right there in Philly and be there the entire time. I was blessed to play in the league, but that wasn't the case. But it wasn't so bad being in one place for 9 years. For the longest, I was the longest tenured professional athlete out of all of the sports, whether it was football, basketball, hockey, or baseball. And so to be there, so long, meet so many good people. I still stay in contact with a lot of folks in that area, and it's a special place in my heart. So I feel good about that, and I'm happy I never played for your favorite team, the Dallas
Cowboys.
Did you have a favorite team during your career that you played for? Like, I know you played on 3 NFC Championship teams. Were any of those your favorites?
Yeah, that's a hard one, right? Because luckily each year we had limited turnover, and the good thing about that, when we were going to those back-to-back NFC Championship games, majority of our coaches, especially on the defensive side of the ball, with Jim Johnson being our defensive coordinator, Leslie Frazier being our DB coach, Steve Spagnuolo being our safeties coach, Ron Rivera being our linebackers coach, John Harbaugh being our special teams coach, who's in Baltimore now. Like, having the consistency of those coaches, and myself, Troy Vincent, Brian Dawkins. We had Al Harris for a while, Carlos Emmons, Jeremiah Trotter, Ike Reese. Hugh Douglas. We had a lot of like important pieces that stayed the same for many years. And so, with that being said, it's probably hard to pick out one. I think my last year there, when we lost to the NFC Championship game at home, we felt very confident about our record. We had the best record in the NFC, so we had home field advantage throughout the playoffs, first round bye, like all of that good stuff. We loved our chances in regards to possibly getting to the big game, but obviously, we didn't get it done, and that's how it is when it comes to the NFL. But I would probably say if I could block off those 3 years when we made it to the end of those NFC Championship teams, if we could put all that together, that's probably like my favorite team. Like those 3 years when it comes to the players and the coaches combined.
We have a lot going on right now with the whole pandemic and everything. Can you just imagine yourself at this moment, at the height of your career, how to play in the pandemic? Can you see yourself?
Well, first and foremost, I would have I would get the vaccine. So if I'm a current player, that's important. I would get the vaccine just because, why not? There's so much being made about I don't trust it. I mean, from my experience, if you went to public school, and majority of the guys that I know, and majority of guys that are probably in the league, they went to public school, you've had vaccines. And so why now, like, this hesitancy as far as not getting it? So that would be the first and foremost. I would get my vaccine just because I would want to be protected, and I would also want to protect other folks that I may be come in contact with. Now, of course, when you think about all of the testing, especially last year, with everything being pretty brand new when it came to the pandemic and trying to play through it. And I think the NFL, the players, the administration, the medical, I think they did a great job in regards to just focusing in and making that sacrifice, because you know, sports is such a pivotal part of our society, and especially football. I mean, it's the number one sport in the country. And so, you know, I think to not have it is worse than, you know, some of the things when it comes to testing, maybe not being able to go certain places during the season or what have you. I mean, that's just a small sacrifice in the big scheme of things, because trust me, I'm pretty sure if you gave a player, a coach, a owner a trade-off for, let's get the vaccine, let's be disciplined throughout the season, and if we do that, that could increase our chances in possibly going to the playoffs and possibly getting the berth to play in the Super Bowl. Hands down, everybody would trade off, take that trade off.
Absolutely. Andy Reid was your coach for 5 years. Obviously, you've seen what he's done since he's went to the Chiefs. He had a ton of success with the Eagles. Is he the greatest coach of all time? I think he is, because he's done it with multiple quarterbacks. Belichick only did it with Brady, truly. I want to know your opinion, since you were around him for so many years.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I have so much love for Coach Reid, his wife Tammy, his family. I think that's hard, just because when you start thinking about the greatest coaches, it always starts off, okay, well, how many Super Bowls do they have? And obviously there are other coaches, but I mean, that doesn't take away from the man that he is. You know, Coach Reid is probably one of the most respected, not only coaches, but just men that I've been around, you know, since I've been playing sports. And, you know, he's had, you know, you think about the Bill Walsh tree, you think about the Mike Holmgren tree, like Andy Reid has his own tree now. When you think about assistant coaches that have been a part of his coaching staffs and what they've gone on to do. You have guys that have played in the Super Bowl. You have guys that have won the Super Bowl. You have so many head coaches right now and coordinators that come from his coaching staff. And so I think that's probably one of his greatest assets or resources that he has, is that he's not afraid to hire potentially great coaches that he knows at some point he's going to lose, because they're just that good. And I think that's great when it comes to Coach Reid and what he's been able to contribute to the great game of football.
We did mention that he's a very great coach. Can you help me a coach with the knowledge that you have?
You know what? I'm not sure if my calling is to coach on the NFL, but so right now, like with some of the things that I do professionally, I do consulting for the NFL, and I work under the football operations umbrella, and I'm a part of our Legends Youth Advisory Committee, and I'm constantly going to camps, high school camps, youth football camps, teaching the game, talking about my personal journey, some of my experiences, things that I went through, some of the missteps that I've had, mistakes that I've made, in hopes that a lot of these youngsters can learn from some of those mistakes. And that's, I think, where my calling is. You know, I would never say never. I'm definitely a student of the game. When I was playing, I study the game now, and you know, who knows? But right now, it's you know, what I'm doing now from a consulting standpoint, in the youth and high school football space, and you know, I find a lot of joy in that right now.
What a message that you might leave them every time you see a different player or get a peace of mind you might say to a player that may have a hard time or is not really sure what they really want to do in football really hard, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so we're playing the game of football, right? There's just so many life skills that you can learn. Setting goals, um, learning how to handle success, learning how to handle losing, because you're not going to win every game. You know, can you be a good loser? Can you take constructive criticism? How do you take coaching? Are you a good teammate? Are you is just as happy for your teammate when they do something positive as if you were doing something positive? Um, so there are just so many life skills that you could learn just from playing the game, and you know, everyone is not going to make it to the NFL, right? But there's just so many like, for example, what you guys are doing now, right? You guys have your own podcast and you are contributing to the game. You guys don't play in the NFL, but you still are contributing to the game. I'm pretty sure you study and you look at tendencies and all of these different types of things, and you can probably talk to anybody about the game. And so there's just so many other ways. If you happen not to make it to the NFL, and in most cases you aren't, you know, you can be a good student athlete. You can earn a scholarship and get your college paid for. Like, that's amazing, where you don't have to worry about student loans and things of that nature, what have you. So there are just so many different things that you can learn from playing the game of football. And I tell kids all the time. I tell kids all the time, you know, just some of the things that I've been able to learn and the relationships that I have with different people all over the country, whether it's guys that I played with on the team. You know, we go to different conferences, guys that we played against, being able to like talk about some of those different experiences and things of that nature. And so, you know, it's cool, real cool.
You know, with that being said, you mentioned that we have a podcast and we are part of the game as well. But can you see yourself maybe having a podcast or a TV show?
Yeah, you know what? Actually, like, so I have three boys. My oldest is 17. My middle son, I have three boys. My middle son is 8, and my youngest is 5. And so I'm actually, like, me and my 8-year-old are thinking about just getting on and talking about, like, presenting some topics and giving a grown person's um, point of view, and then also giving my 8-year-old, because he plays sports as well. He's a good student, makes good grades, and he has a very broad perspective of so many different subjects. And so that's something that we talked about. But to answer your question, yes, I could possibly see myself at some point, but it just, the timing hadn't been right now with some of the other things that I have going on. But I could see myself at some point doing something like that.
You played with the Seahawks your last year. Obviously, everybody talks about the 12th man. What is louder, the 12th man in Seattle or the vet?
Man, ooh. You know what? So I think it's not a tie. I'm not going to say it's the same. I would say the 12th man that I experienced in Seattle, it may have the link, and it may have Veterans Stadium as far as being a little bit louder. And the reason why I say that is because of the design of the stadium is really right up on you, as opposed to how the fans sit. I mean, I know it's a proper term for that when it comes to architecture and all of that type of stuff or what have you. But I would probably have to give it to the 12th man. I mean, it gets loud. Like I was pleasantly surprised because I played there for the Eagles against Seattle, but we were beating up on them, and they didn't really have a reason to cheer at that time. So it wasn't really loud. It wasn't really loud at that time when we went out there on a road trip. But my 1 year when I was there, there were a couple of times when I was like, man, it's really loud in here. And so, yeah, I would have to get him the nod. I mean, I hope the Eagles fan don't take away my pass to come in the city by saying that. But hey, I just have to be
Don't
transparent.
worry, he's a Cowboys fan. I got one final question for you. Super Bowl prediction for this year. Obviously, training camp's about to start. Who do you think will be in the Super Bowl?
You know what? I think it's going to be a repeat. I think Tampa and the Chiefs, Kansas City will be back. And I mean, for all of the marketers and things of that nature, I mean, I think that would be a dream. Just when you think about, we hope that we will have a full stadium. The Super Bowl is going to be in LA, the new SoFi Stadium where the Rams and the Chargers home. So I think that'll be cool where you have those two, the GOAT, Tom Brady, you have the baby GOAT and Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid get another shot at Tom Brady and his crew. So I see those two teams repeating, getting back to the Super Bowl again this upcoming season.
I just have 2 more questions. One, is that a key? What would be your score? Can you give a prediction on what if it could be a high scoring game or a low scoring game?
I'm a defender, right? So a good game to me is like 10-6. That's a good game to me. But I'm pretty sure people at home, the average fan, they want to see 30, 40 points. But I would say maybe somewhat 24, 27. It comes down to a field goal, and whoever has the ball last, they're able to drive their team down, and their field goal kicker kicks a game winner. So I would say 27-24. I won't say who. Maybe you guys bring me back on. Maybe you guys bring me back on at the toward the end of the season, and maybe I'll give you my my answer at that time.
Awesome.
Yeah, we mentioned Patrick Mahomes. He's a great quarterback in my eyes. I like how young he is. He's very hungry. He looks like he's ready for the Super Bowl. But what do you particularly think about him as a quarterback, as a great guy? What you thought in general about him as a player and everything?
About Patrick?
About Patrick, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, well, I keep bringing up Texas, man. He's another Texas guy. He's from East Texas, the same area that I'm from. And so, I mean, I think he's a great advocate for the game. He's one of the top quarterbacks in the league. You look at his track record over the last 2 to 3 years, MVP, Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl champion, back-to-back Super Bowls. And so I could just, see his trajectory steady going up. And, I'm looking forward to it. I like seeing him play. He's athletic. He can make every throw on the field, in the playbook. I mean, I know it's a joy for Andy and Eric Bieniemy drawing up plays for this guy. And to see him go out there and execute. I mean, he has some great supporting pieces around him. And I just see him getting better and better and better. So, the sky, like I said, the baby goat, the sky's the limit.
We absolutely agree. We want to thank you for coming on the show today. It was an absolute honor. We were both huge fan of you growing up. Thank you, Bobby Taylor. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, dog. I'll see you guys on the other side. Have a good season.
Thank you. Thank you.